In the merciless heat of the proving grounds, where dreams of glory were forged or shattered, Alara Varn stood defiant, her quiet strength a silent rebuke to the jeers that hounded her. They mocked her stumbles, her unassuming presence, her refusal to boast. But when the colonel's whisper cut through the din, "That's a black viper mark," the laughter died, and the shadow of her past cast a chill over the truth that was about to unfold. If you're captivated by tales of grit, secrets, and redemption, subscribe to Silent Stories for more narratives that grip the heart and soul. The proving grounds sprawled across a desolate valley on the planet Arctis, a Federation training hub where raw recruits were molded into soldiers or sent packing. The air shimmered with heat, the cracked earth swallowing boots with every step. Obstacle courses loomed like gauntlets of steel and stone, while drones buzzed overhead, their sensors scanning for weakness. Among the recruits was Alara Varn, 24, with ash-gray eyes and a frame that belied her resilience. She moved with precision, not flair, her voice low, her demeanor guarded. To the others, she was a nobody, a fringe rat, who didn't belong. "Varn, you running or sleepwalking?" bellowed recruit Kellen Bryce, a cocky Londoner with a boxer's build and a grin that screamed trouble. He shoved past her during a sprint drill, his mates, mostly US and UK recruits, snickering. "Go back to your colony slum, love. This ain't your game." The laughter stung, but Alara didn't flinch. She tightened her grip on her pulse rifle, her face a mask, and kept moving. She'd heard worse growing up in the fringe, a lawless rim of colonies where survival meant outsmarting raiders, scavengers, and worse. Trust was a myth, and weakness was death. Her secret lay hidden under her sleeve, a jagged tattoo of a coiled serpent, fangs bared, the black viper mark. It wasn't just ink, it was a brand from a life she'd buried. In the fringe, the vipers were whispered legends, assassins, saboteurs, ghosts who struck and vanished. Alara had been one of them, trained in shadows, her skills honed in blood. She'd fled that life, seeking redemption in the Federation's ranks, but the mark was a chain she couldn't break. She kept it covered, not out of shame, but because it could unravel everything. Training was a crucible designed to forge or destroy. Recruits scaled walls, crawled through razor wire, and fired at holographic targets under simulated fire. Alara excelled quietly, her shots landing dead center, her movements fluid but understated. The instructors, hardened veterans with no patience for showboats, logged her consistency but said little. The recruits, though, saw her restraint as weakness. "She's got no spine," they muttered. No fire. In hand-to-hand drills, they paired her with bruisers like Kellen, expecting her to fold. She didn't. She slipped their grabs, used their weight against them, and left them sprawled, bewildered but unhurt. Still, the jeers followed. "Oi, Varn, you gonna cry yet?" Kellen taunted one evening in the mess hall, a cavernous space of steel tables and harsh lights. Alara sat alone, her tray of protein slop untouched, her nose in a tactical manual. Kellen, flanked by his crew, recruits Jackson from Chicago and Harris from Manchester, sauntered over. "What's this then?" "Studying to be a librarian." He snatched the manual, tossing it to Jackson. "No pictures?" "Typical." Alara's eyes flicked up, cold and sharp. "Give it back." Kellen smirked. "Make me, fringe girl." She stood, her movements almost lazy. Before Kellen could react, she was in his space, her hand locking his wrist in a grip like iron. A twist, a wince, and the manual hit the floor. She retrieved it, sat, and resumed reading. The mess hall fell silent, then buzzed with whispers. Kellen's face flushed, but he backed off, muttering about cheap tricks. Jackson and Harris exchanged looks, unsure whether to laugh or stay quiet. The incident didn't win Alara allies, but it planted a seed of doubt. "She's hiding something," Harris whispered later. "Nobody moves like that without training." Alara ignored the chatter. She wasn't here for friends. She was here to prove she could be more than the killer the fringe had made her. Weeks bled into months, each day a grind of drills, simulations, and exhaustion. The final test loomed. The crucible, a 3-day gauntlet of survival, combat, and strategy in a hostile forest zone. It was the make or break moment. Pass, and you earned a place in the Federation's ranks. Fail, and you were out. Alara prepped methodically, checking her gear with a sniper's precision. Her squad, a ragtag mix including Kellen, Jackson, and Harris, grumbled about her presence. "Bloody brilliant," Kellen sneered. "We're stuck with the ghost. Hope she doesn't vanish when the shooting starts." The crucible began at dawn. Choppers dropped the recruits into a dense forest, its canopy blotting out the sun. Their mission: capture a fortified outpost guarded by AI-driven drones and automated turrets. Each squad got minimal supplies: a pulse rifle, a knife, a mech-kit, and one encrypted comms device. Kellen took charge, his voice brimming with bravado. "We hit hard. We hit fast. No mucking about." Alara suggested a stealth approach, using the terrain to bypass the drone's sensors. Kellen scoffed. "You think you're SAS, Varn? Stick to the plan." The plan failed spectacularly. Kellen's frontal assault triggered a minefield, costing them half their supplies. Drones swarmed, their laser sights cutting through the gloom. Jackson took a hit, his vest flashing red, eliminated. Harris panicked, firing wildly, drawing more drones. Alara moved like a wraith, slipping into cover, her rifle picking off a drone with a single shot. "Fall back," Kellen shouted, but his voice cracked. The squad scattered, cohesion gone. Alara stayed low, her fringe instincts kicking in. She'd faced worse odds in raids where one mistake meant a shallow grave. Spotting the comms device, dropped in the chaos, she darted for it. Her fingers danced over the controls, hacking the encryption, a skill the Vipers had drilled into her. She rewrote the drone's targeting protocols, turning them on each other. The forest erupted in sparks and screeches as the machines tore themselves apart. The squad regrouped, battered but alive. Kellen stared at her, his bravado gone. "How the hell did you do that?" "Does it matter?" Alara said, already moving toward the outpost. The others followed, too shell-shocked to argue. By nightfall, they'd breached the outpost's defenses, Alara disabling the turrets with a rewired power cell. They secured the objective, one of only 2 squads to succeed. Her actions had saved them, but no one said thanks. She didn't expect it. The final day brought the debriefing. The recruits stood in formation, bruised and weary, as Colonel Heron, a grizzled American with a voice like gravel, reviewed their performance. His eyes, sharp as a hawk's, scanned the line. When they landed on Alara, he froze. Her sleeve, torn in the crucible, revealed the black viper mark. He stepped closer, his voice a low growl. "That's a black viper mark." The words hit like a shockwave. The recruit stiffened, eyes darting to Alara. The laughter that had dogged her was gone, replaced by a heavy silence. The Black Vipers were a ghost story in the Federation, a rumored Black Ops unit that operated in the shadows, assassins, spies, killers who answered to no one. Most dismissed them as myth, but the mark was real, and it changed everything. Heron gestured her to a command tent, away from the others. Inside, he didn't sit. "Where'd you get that mark, Varn?" "It's mine," she said, her voice steady. "That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting." He studied her, searching for a lie. There was none. "The Vipers don't exist," he said. "Not on any official record. But I've seen that mark on corpses and places no soldier should survive. If you're one of them, you're either the best they trained or a damn good fake." Alara didn't blink. "I'm here to serve the Federation. That's all." Heron's jaw tightened. "You saved your squad out there. Broke every rule to do it. That's not recruit training. That's something else." He leaned in. "If you're a Viper, you're a risk or a weapon. Which is it?" She held his gaze, silent. The crucible had shown what she could do. The mark told the rest. Heron dismissed her, but his eyes lingered as she left. Back in the barracks, the recruits kept their distance. Kellen's swagger was gone, replaced by uneasy glances. Jackson whispered to Harris, "You think she's really one of them?" Harris didn't answer, just watched Alara like she might vanish. The tattoo wasn't just ink anymore. It was a warning. Alara didn't care. She'd come to the proving grounds to escape the fringe, to prove she could be more than a killer. But the mark was a tether to her past, a reminder of the blood on her hands. She'd been 16 when the Vipers found her, starving and alone after raiders burned her settlement. They trained her knives, codes, stealth, until she was a shadow who could kill without a sound. But the cost was too high. She'd walked away, vowing never to return. The Federation was her shot at redemption, but redemption, she was learning, came with a price. Months later, Alara stood on the observation deck of the Aurora, a Federation starship bound for the outer systems. Her new rank, lieutenant, gleamed on her uniform, earned through blood and grit. Heron's words echoed, risk or weapon. She didn't know which she was, and maybe it didn't matter. The galaxy was fracturing, rebel factions rising, alien threats looming. The Federation needed soldiers, and Alara needed purpose. But the past wasn't done with her. Late one night, a coded message pinged her personal comms. No sender, No trace, just a single line. Vipers never leave. Her hand drifted to the tattoo, hidden again under her sleeve. She deleted the message, her face unreadable, and turned back to the stars. The Aurora hummed around her, its crew unaware of the shadow in their midst. Alara's training had taught her to survive, to adapt, to strike. The Vipers had made her a weapon, but she'd choose how to wield it. War was coming, and when it did, the black Viper mark would be more than a scar. It would be her edge. Alara's childhood in the Fringe was a masterclass in survival. Born on a forgotten colony called Drenver, she grew up scavenging among ruins. Her parents lost to a raider attack when she was 9. By 12, she was running with a gang of orphans, stealing to eat, dodging slavers, and worse. The Vipers found her after she outsmarted a bounty hunter, leaving him tied to a derelict ship. They saw potential, a girl with no ties, no fear, and a knack for disappearing. For 4 years, they molded her into their image, silent, lethal, loyal to the mission. But the Viper's code, strike and vanish, clashed with her growing unease. The final straw came when she was ordered to kill a defector's family to send a message. She refused, fled, and burned every bridge to the Vipers, or so she thought. Joining the Federation wasn't just a fresh start. It was a defiance of everything the Vipers stood for. She chose Arctis's proving grounds because it was the hardest training post, a place where she could test herself against the best and prove she was more than a killer. But the mark on her arm was a constant reminder, a ghost that whispered of debts unpaid. Kellen, too, had layers. A former street fighter from London's underbelly, he joined the Federation to escape a life of bare-knuckle brawls and debt collectors. His bravado hid a fear of failure, of being sent back to the streets. Alara's quiet competence unnerved him, a mirror to his own insecurities. Jackson, the Chicagoan, was a tech nerd turned soldier, more comfortable with code than combat, while Harris, the Mancunian, was a pragmatist who joined for the steady pay. Their dynamic with Alara shifted from mockery to grudging respect, though trust remained elusive. The Crucible's forest was a nightmare of dense ferns, jagged rocks, and hidden sensors. Day 1 saw Alara's squad blunder into a drone ambush. Kellen's plan. Charge the outpost head-on was textbook bravado, but the drones were relentless, their AI adapting to every move. Alara's suggestion to use the riverbed for cover was ignored, and the squad paid for it. Harris took a grazing shot, his vest sparking but not red. Bloody hell, Varn, you were right, he muttered, the first crack in their dismissal of her. Day 2 brought rain, turning the forest into a quagmire. Alara took point, her fringe instincts guiding her through traps the others missed. When a turret pinned them down, she crawled through mud, disabling its power core with a knife and a rewired grenade. Jackson watched, wide-eyed. Where'd you learn that? He asked. She didn't answer, but the question hung in the air. The final push came at dusk. The outpost loomed, a steel bunker bristling with defenses. Kellen, humbled by losses, let Alara take the lead. She split the squad, sending Harris and Jackson to draw fire while she and Kellen flanked. It was a risk, trusting Kellen not to botch it, but she saw something in him, a flicker of the same desperation she'd felt in the Fringe. They moved in sync, her stealth balancing his aggression. When a drone locked onto Kellen, Alara tackled him into cover, her knife flashing to sever its sensor array. Thanks, he grunted, the word heavy with surprise. Colonel Heron's tint was sparse, lit by a single holodisplay showing the Crucible's data. His questions about the Viper mark were pointed, but Alara's answers were a wall. She'd learned in the Fringe to give nothing away. Heron, a veteran of covert wars, recognized the type, a soldier shaped by necessity, not ideals. He didn't push further, but his warning was clear. The Federation doesn't tolerate secrets. If they come for you, I can't protect you. On the Aurora, Alara's new role as a lieutenant came with scrutiny. Her squad, now scattered to other units, carried stories of her actions. Kellen, assigned to the same ship, kept his distance but nodded when their paths crossed, a small gesture, but enough. The message from the Vipers wasn't a surprise, but it was a problem. They'd found her, and they didn't let go. She'd face them eventually, but on her terms. The galaxy was unraveling. Rebel factions in the outer systems were arming, and rumors of an alien fleet stirred panic. Alara's skills, Viper-trained, Federation-honed, would be tested. She stood at the observation deck, the stars a map of possibilities. The Black Viper mark was her past, but her future was hers to forge. Thank you for diving into Alara's story. For more tales of courage, mystery, and redemption, subscribe to Silent Stories and join a community of storytellers who bring the galaxy to life.